An Iraqi refugee has been chosen to help boost the profile of cricket in Australia. Sam Al-Maliki has been appointed to oversee Cricket Australia's Indigenous, female, multicultural and disability programmes as the sport aims to broaden its player base. Phil Mercer reports.
Cricket has been slow to embrace Australia's cultural diversity, but is trying to ditch its reputation for being pale, male and stale. The job of widening the sport's appeal has fallen to Sam Al-Maliki, a refugee from Basra in southern Iraq. He was first exposed to the old colonial British game as an 8-year-old asylum seeker at a detention centre in Sydney. He believes that cricket needs to tap into Australia's multicultural heritage.
Naturally, there's good times and there are times where you struggle and go through a rebuilding phase, and that's what's happening at Australian cricket. I think the migrant communities, along with our Indigenous Australians and the rest of the Australian community, have got a lot to offer in terms of the rebuild of Australian cricket, and not just on the field but also off the field, and that's why it's important that Australian cricket is a sport for all Australians.
The bruising game of rugby league in Australia is a beacon of ethnic and religious diversity. At a grassroots level, the powerhouse sport has actively embraced the enthusiasm of the Indigenous community, along with migrants and women. Its administrators say that rugby league can help develop a more tolerant and cohesive society. It's a path that Australian cricket hopes to follow.
We have a pretty good mixture of children. We've got a new boy who's Vietnamese. We've got a few boys from India, one from Sri Lanka, a Maltese player, a few children from Australia. And yeah, they all just get out there. They all speak English, which is one thing, but it wouldn't matter if they did or they didn't.
These junior players in Sydney already have heroes with Asian backgrounds. Among them is Ashton Agar, a 19-year-old spinner who made his Australian debut in the first Ashes Test in England and whose mother is Sri Lankan. About 40% of Australians were either born overseas or have at least one migrant parent. While immigration from Britain and New Zealand remains high, there have been large numbers of new settlers from India and China, which could eventually change the face of Australia's national cricket team.